Hi, Professor. My name is Drew Humans, and for my final project, I chose to do it over the movie Philadelphia, which was directed by Jonathan Demme and released in 1993. The movie tells the story of Andrew Beckett, who's a lawyer that got fired from his firm after they find out he has AIDS. The film focuses on the HIV and AIDS stigma, especially against gay men, and how fear and discrimination affects people's lives. The main health disparity shown in Philadelphia is the stigma and discrimination people face when they're living with the HIV and AIDS disease. The issue especially affects the LGBTQ plus community, people of color, and those with lower incomes. Even today, stigma still plays a huge role in preventing people from getting tested or treated, and according to the CDC, in 2020, around 65% of new HIV cases were among gay and bisexual men. So, a little analysis of the film. In the movie, we see Andrew Beckett lose his job, not because he wasn't good at it, but because of his illness. He ends up taking his former firm to court, right? And the legal battle becomes the heart of the story. His lawyer, Joe Miller, who is played by Denzel Washington, and on the right there in the picture, um, is hesitant at first to support or represent Beckett. He clearly has his own biases, but eventually he sees the injustice and fights for Beckett. That shift in perspective is powerful because it mirrors how a lot of people might feel about HIV without realizing their bias. Some contributing factors in the film. The film highlights a few of these key issues. First, the social stigma. There's a lot of fear and misinformation about HIV, causing widespread homophobia. Secondly, is the access to care. Not everyone has the money or support to fight a legal case or even get the treatment they would require to fight the disease. Thirdly, is the environment around Beckett. Um, he isn't really very supportive, even despite the fact that he's a successful lawyer. He still faces rejection and isolation. The film shows discrimination even towards, like I said, the educated, high-level individuals, and it also highlights the intersection of identity, illness, and injustice. So it really just shows how discrimination cuts across all kinds of boundaries. So some real world comparisons between the film and real life. The movie is actually really accurate for its time in the early 1990s. Protections like the American with Disability Acts were still new, and people with HIV often were treated unfairly. Studies have shown that even now, some Americans still believe outdated myths about how HIV spreads. Um, One report by the Kaiser Family Foundation said that in 2018, about 30% of people still thought you could get HIV from sharing a glass. Philadelphia captured real issues, and sadly, some of them still exist. Some stereotypes and representations from the film. What I really appreciated about the film is that it doesn't fall into the usual stereotypes. Beckett isn't shown as weak or irresponsible. He's shown as smart and capable and deeply human. Um, a lot of media at the time didn't show that. Instead of making him a victim, the film gave him a voice, and that helps challenge the negative ideas people have about AIDS. It really encourages empathy over fear, and like I said earlier, it really does contrast what the media usually depicted AIDS patients from the 1980s into the early 1990s. Some interventions and solutions. So since that time when the film was released in the early 90s, a lot of progress has been made. Programs like the Ryan White HIV and AIDS program help people who can't afford care, um, and campaigns like the U equals U, which stands for undetectable equals untransmittable, work to reduce the stigma and spread facts rather than misinformation. But there is still more to do, like stronger protections in the workplace and better mental health support for those living with HIV. Education and access are the key to closing the gap. Finally, just some conclusions and reflections. Watching Philadelphia really helped me understand how the media can shape the way we see health issues. It puts a human face on something that, for most people, is usually abstract and misunderstood. Movies like this can raise awareness in ways that stats and news reports can't always do. And when we understand these